You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Israel Adesanya takes on Nassourdine Imavov in the main event of UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia this Saturday. This is a fun main event. Kind of a step down, I would say, for Israel Adesanya, not in terms of necessarily skill, but maybe name value. We're used to seeing Izzy fight, the Alex Pereiras, Sean Strickland's of the UFC world. So having him fight something like Imamov, who may not be kind of a household name to a lot of people, I would say the hardcore guys, the hardcore MMA fans know who Imamov is. He's fought a lot of good guys at middleweight, but definitely not the high-profile fights that we're used to seeing Izzy take. So could play a factor in this. Is Izzy going to take him as seriously? Could he be overlooking him? Who knows? We've seen him kind of overlook people in the past. I feel like he overlooked Sean Strickland, lost his belt to him, had kind of lackluster performances in the past to guys that maybe weren't the best of the best, or maybe the biggest threats to Izzy. People like, Marvin Vettori, Kelvin Gastelum, Derek, I guess he did beat Derek Brunson, but Brad Tavares, split decision to Marvin Vettori. So had his not the greatest performances against people who we may not deem as on his level. The odds suggest that people don't think that Imavov is on Izzy's level, but I would beg to differ on that. So Israel Adesanya doesn't really need any introduction. Former middleweight champion, went up to fight at light heavyweight, wasn't successful against Jan Blachowicz. Coming off of a loss to Dricus du Plessis, had his moments in that fight. Dricus du Plessis, just kind of just no quit in the guy, always pushing forward, doing what he has to do to win fights. Not really. I feel like the difference between him and I guess one of the main differences between him and Izzy is Izzy likes to always look cool and technical when he's fighting, whereas Dricus, he'll fall on his face trying to get a takedown. He'll throw arm punches. He'll look very kind of spazzy, but it's effective and it works, and he wins fights that way, and that's all that matters. So people like to make fun of him for that, but he's the champion, and so it is what it is. Sean Strickland got dropped by him in the beginning of that round. After that, just really couldn't get his offense going in that fight. Lost the decision. Before that, knocked out Alex Pereira. Good win, solid win. Pereira shouldn't be fighting at middleweight anyways. Doesn't really have a chin there. Before that, lost to him. Lost to him by standing knockout, 5th round, and then loses to beats Jared Cannonier, Robert Whitaker. You can argue that he lost that fight, that second fight. Beats Marvin Vettori, loses to Jan Blachowicz. So, but Nassourdine Imavov coming off of a win over Brendan Allen. Very good performance. Got taken down in the first round. Wasn't looking too good, but then ended up turning around, winning the striking engagements and winning the grappling in that fight. So very good performance by Imavov to be able to beat something like Brendan Allen, who I think is an absolute stud at middleweight. Before that, beats Jared Cannonier. Was taking some punches in that fight, some leg kicks. Ended up catching with the knee and TKOing him in the 4th round. So very good performance by him. Not a lot of people are finishing something like Jared Cannonier and kind of eating the shots the way that he did. And before that, beats Roman Dolidze, who's a very solid grappler, was able to stay out of his leg lock game and just kind of dominated that entire fight. Chris Curtis, piecing up Chris Curtis, took his back on the ground. Ended up being a no contest just due to a foul, but I think we all knew where that fight was going. So Nassourdine Imavov, tons of good wins. Young up-and-comer, 28 years old, fighting out of France. He's from Dagestan, though, left there, and I think he was like 9, left with his family to go to France. But 6'3", 75-inch reach, so similar in height. Izzy, he's listed at 6'4". He's probably barely 6'4". Looks more like he's 6'3", but he does have an 80-inch reach advantage, so he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage over Imavov, but giving up 7 years in age. So odds have this in Izzy's favor. But I feel like a lot of Izzy's fights, people kind of play into Izzy's type of style. They let him keep his distance. They like to go tit for tat with him. It's like people give him too much respect on the feet, in my opinion, and he deserves it to a degree. But I feel like Izzy's got a major hole in his grappling game. And I feel like a lot of people don't really expose that. We did see Dricus du Plessis expose that in kind of embarrassing fashion, where Izzy got caught and kind of pointed to the ground like, hey, let's Max Holloway this, and then immediately got put on the ground and choked out. So pretty embarrassing, funny to see, especially if you're not a big fan of Israel Adesanya. But I do think that's a gap that Imavov is going to expose. Imavov, like I said, he's got a very similar frame to Izzy, but I do think he's going to be the bigger, stronger guy. Granite chin on him, very, very good chin. We've seen him take crazy strikes from a lot of different people. Never really seen the guy get wobbled at all, but I think he's gonna be able to eat the strikes of Izzy. I think he's gonna be able to go tit for tat with him on the feet, land his leg kicks, threaten with the grappling. I do see Imavov kind of one of those guys where he's gonna stay on the feet and see if he can kind of prove a point, see if he is the better guy there. But I do feel like he will eventually shoot takedowns if it's not going his way, or he'll do that just to kind of open up his strikes. Like I said, we've seen him roll with the best at middleweight on the ground. I feel like if Dricus du Plessis can do what he did to Izzy, I feel like Imavov could do it just as well, if not better. I am concerned about his cardio. You do see his cardio kind of struggled in the Brendan Allen fight, but I feel like if they're on the feet, that it's not going to be like a crazy pace. Israel Adesanya usually kind of doesn't allow for a crazy pace, and people don't usually want to get into a brawl with him for fear of getting hurt on the feet. But I do see Imavov landing good strikes, landing his leg kicks, staying safe. He's got very good defense on the feet, and even if he does get hit, again, great chin on him. So I don't see Izzy really hurting him in the fight. I think he's going to be too smart for that. I do see him mixing up his takedowns, getting Izzy against the fence, and maybe getting takedowns to mix things in. 5 rounds, so we're going to see how Imavov's cardio does hold out. It's not like he's taking this on short notice, though, so he has been preparing for it, and I do think he's got the better grappling than Israel Adesanya. And like I said, I think he'll try to prove a point on the feet, but he's not going to be somebody like Kevin Holland, who's just going to stand on the feet because they're both strikers and he doesn't want to shoot takedowns. I think he will take the path of least resistance in this one, and look for the takedown and look for the finish there. And if he can't get the finish, I think that his grappling will allow him to do enough to steal rounds to get a decision. If he does stay on the feet the entire time, I think he's a good enough striker to really give Israel Adesanya a run for his money. Throws good kicks. I mean, he's got really fast hands, really nasty combos when he lets him go. Sometimes I feel like he doesn't, just for fear of kind of gassing himself out, but I do think he has a really good chance on the feet against him. Like I said, he's fared very well in his UFC career against any and all strikers other than Sean Strickland. But again, he took that on short notice. I know Sean Strickland took it on short notice too, but was game planning for, who was he game planning for? He's game planning for Kevin Gastelum, somebody who's got really good boxing, would shoot takedowns. So Sean Strickland's never shot a takedown in his life. So kind of a complete switch up in opponents. So I can forgive that, especially understanding how good Sean Strickland is, former champ himself. But beating Joaquin Buckley, we've seen how good he is on the feet. Edmund Shabazian, taking him down, beating him up. Ian Heinisch, same thing. Lost to Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes isn't terrible, but still not a great look, in my opinion. The same with a decision over Jordan Williams, but we've never really seen him in trouble. Never really seen Imavov about to get finished or in a deep submission, even with somebody like Roman Dolidze, just able to kind of completely avoid and shut down his ground game, and that's what he's really known for. So I don't see him being in any real danger here in this fight against Israel Adesanya. I feel like he's going to be the one pushing the pace on Izzy. And Izzy's coming off of, 2 losses, like 35 years old, probably a lot of doubt, whereas Imavov kind of the completely different trajectory on the way up, 28, not even in his prime yet, knocking off these top guys. Should be on a 4-fight winning streak, really on a 3 because of the Chris Curtis fight, but I feel like he would have already had a title shot if it wouldn't have been for that Sean Strickland fight. That late notice replacement kind of derailing him, so to speak. But I do think Imavov is good enough to get this one done. Not a huge underdog, plus 150. Izzy is a minus 180, so I can understand those odds just with Izzy, his experience and everything, but I just feel like he's not getting, people aren't exposing his grappling deficiencies as well as I would like to see. And I feel like Imavov has good enough striking and good enough grappling to kind of mix it up and to do that, to keep Izzy guessing on the feet and shoot his takedowns as well. So I could also see him hurting Izzy. We've seen Izzy get hurt in his last couple of fights against Duplessis, and Sean Strickland obviously got, you know, hurt by Pereira. So gonna go with Imavov in this one. I can see a decision, but I also see him grinding on Israel Adesanya on the ground and you know, getting him in a bad position, kind of like he did against Shabazian and TKOing him, or finding that sub while Izzy's trying to get back up to his feet. So I'm gonna go with Imavov in this one. I'm gonna go with round 3 submission. So let me know what you guys think. If you think Izzy's just gonna be too much for him on the feet, if he's gonna be able to defend it, because he does have good, decent takedown defense. We just really haven't seen it tested as much as I'd like to see to be able to say he's got good takedown defense. But 6'4", big frame. Those guys are usually pretty hard to take down. But again, Nassourdine Imavov only gonna be an inch shorter, from Dagestan. So those guys are just born with collegiate level wrestling experience. So I'm gonna go with Imavov, round 3 submission. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.